Hey everybody, it's time for more Learning with a Little Tweet. My hair is just getting wackier and wackier throughout the day. It's still Wednesday, April, whoa, see, it's just getting crazy in here. It's still Wednesday, April 29th, and we're working on day 21 lessons. It's time for us to do math, and we're shifting from science back to social studies. You don't need much for our lessons today, at least in terms of like papers from our packet. What you do need is at some point you're going to need an adult to take a picture of some of the things that you've collected. You don't need that yet, but you will need someone later to take a picture of a collection that you've made of some things because you're going to be sending that to your teacher. Then you also need a blank piece of paper. This is for social studies. And then some sort of plate that will fit on your paper or is smaller than your paper because you're going to trace around it and then cut out the circle. Okay, so just some sort of plate that you can trace. It can be a paper plate or a real plate, but it just needs to be smaller than your paper. And an adult can help you with that if it's easier for you grown-ups to just trace around a plate, cut it out so that your child has a circle. That is just fine. They don't have to do that part on their own. So really, that's all you need. Just pencil, a circle cut out of paper, or if you're doing it on your own, a plate you can trace around. Oh yes, and then of course you need scissors. All right, guys, let's get started. Sorry, I forgot to tell you to pause the video to get materials. So if you need to gather up your materials, go ahead, pause the video and get some materials. All right, everybody, we are starting something new in math. I'm so excited. We are going to start learning about different kinds of shapes. Today is just our introductory lesson to learning about different kinds of shapes. So you guys are going to do kind of like a shape scavenger hunt in your house. But we're not telling you specific kinds of shapes to look for. So here are actually the directions for what you're supposed to do. It says, gather 5 to 10 random shape items from around your house. Let's see. And then you're going to sort the shapes into 2 piles. A pile of flat or 2D shapes and a pile of solid or 3D shapes. Explain why you put each of them in each pile. Now, those words, 2D and 3D shapes or flat and solid shapes, those might be new words for you. I promise we will talk about them, but before we do that, we're just going to do a little exploring with those ideas. So I actually went ahead and gathered some things for my house that have shapes that I'm familiar with. I see some rectangles, circles, squares, all sorts of, I didn't really even get any triangular shapes, but I see a bunch of different shapes here that I recognize. Some of these are flat and some of them are solid. They're not flat. So what I'm going to do now that I've collected some items is I'm going to sort them into groups. Over here by Little Tweet, I think I'm going to put my shapes that are flat. And then over here, I'll put, maybe with a little sharky guy, I'll put shapes that are solid. Okay, so first I have a bookmark. And that is pretty flat. You see how skinny that is? That is pretty flat. So I'm going to put that over here with Little Tweet as a flat shape. Now, do you see this beautiful painting here? This was painted by Mrs. Cheryl, and I bought it for my daughter Avery. I love it. Actually, no, this one's Layton's. I did buy one for Avery, but I bought this one for Layton. So let me think. I definitely recognize the shape of the front. It's not flat though. Like if I lay it down on its side, I see that it's not flat on the table. So I'm going to put this one over here with Little Shark. Here you go, Little Shark. You get that one. All right, now let's see what I have next. I have a marker. The marker definitely does not seem flat to me. So I'm going to put it over here. Same thing with a crayon. A crayon, I can stand it up like that, but even when I lay it down, it's really not flat and it rolls. You see how it's rolling? So my crayon is definitely not flat. So I'm going to put it over here with Sharky. Now I have a piece of paper. My piece of paper is definitely flat. So I'm going to put it over here with Little Tweet. Next, let's do this die. I almost called it dice, but I know my student Nolan would correct me and say, Mrs. Hill, it's a die. Yes, you are correct. It is a die. Hold on, Hemi. I'm doing a video, okay? Okay. So this die has squares all over it. And when I put it on the table, it stands up. It's not like flat down on the table. So I'm going to put that over here with Sharky. What about this? This really cute little sand art. That's not flat. I'm going to put that over there. What about this? It's kind of like an ice cream cup. That, I see a circle, but it is not flat. So I'm going to put that over here with Sharky. Okay, I have two more. These are a little trickier. So I have a counter. It's shaped like a circle. And you know what, guys? That is nearly flat. So I'm going to go ahead and put that over here with Little Tweet. And then I have a bottle cap. That is a tricky one. It is really, really, really short. It's not quite flat though. Oh, what do I do with this one? I don't know. Compared to all of these other things, I do think that this is pretty flat. So I'm going to put it over there. So now I have a group of objects that I found that are flat shapes, and then a group of objects that I found that are not flat or solid shapes. So what you guys are going to do is you're going to do the same thing. You're going to try to collect some objects in your house, 5 to 10 objects that you recognize some shapes in, and you're going to kind of put them in a big group and then sort them. Put the flat ones together and the solid ones together, and then you're going to have someone in your family take a picture for you to send to your child's teacher. Okay? So go ahead and pause the video and look for some items to sort. All right, now that you've explored sorting shapes on your own, we're going to watch this video to teach us about flat and solid shapes.
Let's learn about shapes together. Some shapes are flat. These are sometimes called two-dimensional or 2D shapes. Here are some flat shapes. Square, circle, triangle, rectangle, hexagon. Some shapes are solid. You could hold them in your hand. These are sometimes called three-dimensional or 3D shapes. Here are some solid shapes. Sphere, cube, cone, cylinder, pyramid, prism. It can be tricky to draw solid shapes on paper or on a screen. When you draw a solid shape, it might show more than one face, or it might look like light is shining on it, or have a shadow. That's how you know that it is solid. Look at these shapes. Which is flat? This shape is flat. The other shape is solid. We learned to find flat and solid shapes together.
All right, everybody, we will definitely continue learning about two-dimensional and three-dimensional shapes. The next part of our assignment in math says, using an object or toy, move it to show the following positions relative to a table. So our positional words are above, below, beside, in front of, behind, and next to the table. Tell how you know the object is in that position. Okay, we are going to do this together. So here's what I need you to do. Get some sort of stuffed animal friend. I'm going to use Little Tweet. And then either get a real table, or just go to a real table or a real chair, or I'm using this little cup to be a pretend table for Little Tweet. Okay, some sort of table that you can use with your stuffed animal. Go ahead and pause the video to get some sort of stuffed animal friend, and then decide what you're going to use for a table, like a little cup for your stuffed animal, or if you have a real table, you can use the real table. All right, pause the video and get what you need. Okay, so let's get started. So it wants us to move our stuffed animal around the table based on these words. So I'm going to put little Tweet above the table. And this is my little table, remember? And you can move your stuffed animal above the table. Ready? Let's put our stuffed animal above the table. He's flying. Okay. Now it says to put your stuffed animal below the table. Now, I might have to, I can kind of put stuffed animal, little Tweet below the desk if I want to. Or I could even put the table on his head. So he's below the table. Go ahead and put your stuffed animal below the table. Okay, now we need to put our stuffed animal beside the table. That's another way of saying next to. So put your stuffed animal beside the table. Now put your stuffed animal in front of the table. Oh, you can't even see it. It's hiding because little Tweet is in front of the table. Put your stuffed animal in front of the table. Now put your stuffed animal behind the table. It looks like he's waiting for a meal. Are you waiting for something to eat, little Tweet? Put your stuffed animal behind the table. Okay, I guess that was just a quick little review of positional words that they wanted us to do in math. So that is it for math, guys. We're going to move on to social studies. Good work.